Welcome to She Who Leads in Love, a podcast for women ready to live freely and do what they love. I'm your host, Ginny Gane. Together, we get to explore what it means to choose your truth over your conditioning, trust the energy of love over fear, and confidently step into the fullest expression of who you really are. It's time for your most extraordinary life experience. Let's create. Welcome back to another episode of She Who Leads in Love. Today, we're going to talk about what is your inner voice and how do you hear it? So if you've been following along Manifest It Now, you know I started my journey as a big follower of Abraham Hicks. And they always said everybody has their own Abraham, right? Everyone can access source energy the way that Esther can. And Abraham was my first introduction to channels. Since then, there's been so many more, and I'm so grateful for all the exposure and all the people who are just owning this and sharing this message of channeling. It's just something that really resonates with me, the different messages. So many years ago, I was at this place in my life where I really wanted more, right? Like I wanted more in my business and in my relationship. I was having a lot of fun, but I was just feeling this call to more depth, right? More depth in my relationship, more impact, more money in my business. And what came to me was this concept that I've read or heard so many different places in different ways, but that life will meet you as deep as you have met yourself. And I'm like, okay, this is my call for me to go inwards. It was this sign to me to go deeper into me. And so, although I'd been listening to channels for many years, I thought, well, hold on. What if I could access my own direct source energy? Like, wouldn't it be amazing to have this divine intelligence on speed dial for me anytime I wanted? And it really felt like the opportunity to get to know myself deeper and meet myself deeper, and therefore create more of a life authentic and aligned to me. So that was about 13 years ago now. And I still remember the very first time I sat down at my computer, I opened up a document to start writing. I used to do a lot of my scripting and writing on my computer. And I just titled it Right Now, like WRITE now. And it was just this opening for me to just start writing, and which is a lot of what we talk about in automatic writing, and just opening the door to this connection. I remember the room. I remember feeling like the carpet underneath. It was cozy. And nothing really crazy or magical happened that day, but something in me opened to a new possibility. And so now I can say, sitting here so many years later, it's this one practice that has evolved and expanded for me and really allowed me to transform how I know myself, who I am being. And the thing I love most is the steadiness or the groundedness that it's allowed me to navigate all of life's up and downs with. So by the end of this episode, I'm intending that you're going to understand not just what your inner voice is, but how to begin recognizing it and connecting with it within yourself, so you can feel that freedom and that stability as well. So to start us off, just this idea, like when we're talking about where does this all come from, you were born connected. Okay, you're born connected to source energy, to divine, whatever you want to call it. And this is one of the beliefs, like the core beliefs in me, I believe, that allow me to access and connect with my inner guidance. And it's probably the most significant because I just believe as humans, we come from this one energy of source or God or divine, and that we're born into life, but a part of source energy as we're born becomes expressed through us as a human being, kind of like a wave rising up out of the ocean. When you think of that wave being born, there's no separation from the ocean, from the source, even though that wave takes on an individual expression. So this is what feels like is happening as we're born into a human life. Somewhere invisible, we still maintain a connection to the divine intelligence that created us. And so if we're still connected to it on some level, we can tune into it and we can access this intelligence we're connected to. So the other piece of this that kind of plays into everything I talk about is that everything is energy. And what I mean by that is everything you see as matter at the most basic level will always come down to a frequency of energy. We are energy, the table is energy, the tree is energy. And this is the big one. The space between myself and the table is also energy, which means there's no such thing as separation. Okay, there is this underlying connective force connecting us to all things and all things to us. So when we start to think about everything in this sense of connection versus separation, we start to understand our role in creation and being able to access this divine intelligence. Okay, so the first step of really hearing and connecting to your inner guidance and your inner voice is just knowing it's possible, right? It's just not even knowing, it's just believing it is possible. So if I accept that there is no separation, if I accept everything is energy, then it must be possible for me to have this connection too. Okay, not other people, not those spiritual people, not those channels receiving messages. You exactly as you are, you have access and you have power. So simply acknowledging that it really exists and that it's possible for me, that is what opens the door. Now, why does the door even need to be opened, right? If we're born into this world with this connection, why do we stop hearing it? If it's so natural, why don't we just naturally hear our inner voice? And why isn't the voice of our truth the strongest, biggest, loudest, right? I get this question a lot. If that's the real one, if it's so natural, why isn't that the one that is the loudest? Without getting into too much analyzing, likely at the time you were born into society, your inner guidance just didn't hold as much value as your logical intelligence, right? So it wasn't getting used as much. And this comes from our environment. It comes from the societies we're growing up in. And that's why I really don't want to put society in a box or a sort of permanent hold of this is the way it is, because I really believe this is changing. But to acknowledge that we were likely, if we're not hearing it loudly, we were likely born into an environment that just didn't value it as much. So if it's not getting used, it's going to take a back seat. It's like anything. It's like a muscle or a skill. We simply start giving it energy and attention and practice, and that connection gets stronger. So just keeping this really simple without diving into a lot of details or analyzing it too much, why it isn't here yet or why you can't hear it yet. Oh, we just haven't used it. So there's so many different cultures around the world that place different significance or importance on the inner guidance, and it's all along this scale. And it's so beautiful to see all the different ways, but it's important to know there's not a right or a wrong way with this. It's not they do it that way and that's right, and they do it wrong. And there's only the way you are drawn to. And even if you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, I'm not drawn, that is important to honor as well. Okay. Living your truth and leading in love is about looking inside and asking, what am I pulled to? What am I drawn to? And choosing to follow that. That is where all your magic is. And so really, what feels best and most aligned for you as you approach this connecting to your inner guidance? And like I mentioned, I am seeing this really beautiful shift in our culture to place more value on the inner guidance and really finding this balance, right? This harmony of being the logical, wonderful humans we are and the intuitive, connected humans we are. So we do a really good job of training and conditioning our logical, analytical, and egoic perspective to help us navigate life and ourselves and get to know ourselves. But we generally don't put as much energy into the other. And so that's why we don't hear it as clearly. And that's what makes it hard to hear the truth or that steady, patient, kind part of ourselves, because we just aren't as familiar, right? We're just more familiar with the other one. It's louder because it has had way more airtime over the years. And this is something we'll kind of talk about throughout the show, is these two selves or these two voices inside of you. But just for now, opening the door to know there is this other voice inside of me, and it is possible to connect to it and hear it and allow its presence to grow. So what actually is this presence we're talking about? What actually is this inner voice? So in all the ways you can receive inner guidance, the inner voice I think of is actually like this. It's this energy, this character, this entity that you have access to. Now, some people are going to call it your higher self, or your source, your loving self, your future self. But in essence, it is this energy, this higher frequency energy, and it shares messages with you. And honestly, you can have so much fun labeling it or giving it names or characteristics. We have a lot of fun with that with my clients. But whatever you name it, label it, or you give it, it's energy. Okay. And the way I see it is it's the truest version of you, your soul self, you could say, if those are your terms, or the energy of your soul, the you that exists right now in a higher frequency or a higher consciousness, a higher state of being. Not better, certainly not better, but higher, more expanded, right? We're on a journey through levels of expansion. And so the higher-ness, it doesn't mean better. It means just a different state of being, different frequency. And our human selves are here existing in the 3D, the 4D, the 5D realms. But there is an energetic version of every one of us that exists beyond the frequencies that our bodies live in, right? Lower frequency, denser frequency, higher frequency, lighter frequency. This scale is not associated with worse or better. It's all wonderful and beautiful part of being a human being. And it's here to guide us. So this inner guidance, inner voice, if you're connecting to it, it's like this pull. It's the energy that's here for guidance as you expand and you walk your human journey. And I do like to think of it like some people will talk about connecting with and getting guidance from angels and guides or source as a whole, and it's all perfect. It's all wonderful. The piece of it I think that's powerful is just knowing whatever you're receiving is for you. Like you will always have a personal lens or filter of whatever you are receiving, even if it's source energy, on it's coming through your human. And which is something I always like to remember too when I'm hearing different guides and channels, is the piece of if something's not resonating with me, reminding myself even though this is source energy, there's always a human component to this, because It's coming through a human. Yes. So whether you feel drawn to connect with angels or guides or source as a whole, it's all wonderful, and just follow that. Whatever term you want to use that. Like, you get to choose in this. There's so much freedom. And the more that you honor what feels exciting, what feels fun, what feels interesting to you, the more you're going to develop and create that your unique connection. When I started connecting with Source, it was Source. It was, hey, Source, what's going on? Asking the questions. And it has evolved into using the term my inner being or my inner voice. It feels like there's almost different energies that will pop in. It's funny to describe, but they can kind of come in. They'll often use the words we when I'm connecting with them, like we. So it feels like there's more than one, singular person or character coming through. And so that's something that happens as well. So what are these different ways that we can receive this guidance? What are the different ways we can hear our own inner guidance come through? Because we're the receivers, right? There's this energy out there. We're the receivers, and it's a unique connection for everyone, and therefore it's going to come through in many different ways. So how can you start to recognize this within yourself and just start to pay attention, right? So it might come through as a sensation, right? A warmth, an expansion, a contraction, or a pull in a direction. Something I started paying attention to at the beginning, I started to notice a sensation in my chest, and that's all it was a warmth. And I would feel it first, and then I'd stop myself and I'd think, well, what were you just thinking about right there? And this happened with kind of tingles as well. If I would get, goosebumps is one of my favorites now, which I've been told and informed by Source. It's just kind of like that's truth. That's truth. Sometimes in my coaching, this would come through. It was just a very, very high energy. And it's almost like I can feel it all in my body, where I get really, really excited. And sometimes my heart would be beating really fast. And honestly, for years, I didn't pay any attention to that. I was just like, ooh, that's whatever. It didn't mean anything. And as I developed this connection, I realized that was Source saying, like, this is something important. Energy is moving here. So I started to pay attention. Whatever we were talking about at that moment, I gave it more space and explored it more, and something always comes out of it. There's some sort of energetic opening happening in those moments, and that is part of how that guidance comes through for me. That's not necessarily in a voice coming through my head, right? So it can also be an impulse. So this, we think about intuition a lot like this, as this sudden urge to call someone, to go somewhere, to write something down. It can be a feeling, like an emotion. Maybe you're in a situation and you feel kind of a peace that doesn't really match the circumstances. This can be your inner guidance. Or maybe it's a discomfort that you're feeling that feels unexpected or out of the blue. That can be something for you to, like, information or guidance for you to go inwards and say, what's going on here? It could be, that can be Source guiding you somewhere. We talk about receiving like little whispers, quiet thoughts that kind of just floats in. It's not, a push or anything, and it doesn't repeat. It's just this little whisper that floats in. And if you are paying attention, you can catch it. This other way that's very powerful as well is a knowing. And this was something that took me a long time to understand what it is, because with each of these things, it's a unique experience in you. You can't describe it to anyone else. No one can, feel it for you or hear it for you or sense it for you. This is why this is such a unique individual experience that we're all sharing, even though it's so individual. But this knowing, right? There's no logic. But there's a certainty, or there's an undeniability. Again, we talk about this as a way we receive intuition. And one of the ways I notice this happening so often, and I just started to give it credit, and then it started to build, is it's this sense that I just think it's gonna, these are the words I would use. Oh, I think this is gonna work out like that, or no, I wouldn't. That doesn't feel right. Those are the biggest things. Like, that doesn't feel right, or it just doesn't feel right to do that. And when I started to get in a relationship with my partner, like, it was easy for me to follow this on my own because I'm the only one making decisions in my life about my life. And then I started so I didn't really recognize it as intuition until someone else is in the picture saying, let's do this. And I'm like, no, that doesn't feel right. And then I have to explain it, like, why? And I was like, I don't know. There's not a reason for that. And so if that's ever happening to you, just to take a pause and say, ooh, this might be my intuition. This might be my inner guidance. And what would it mean to not try to explain it and to just honor it and just explore it? And so as you're developing this relationship, once you know it's possible for you, and then you start to open up to how it's already here and already present in your life, the more energy you give to it, the more it will expand, and this connection will get stronger and clearer. And one of the last ways, it's not the last, but that I'll mention today, is the idea of receiving words or images or impressions. And so a lot of the time when I'm working with my inner being and writing and asking questions, it's these words. I'm receiving words. And this comes a lot when you start to deepen that connection and you have the desire. If you don't have the desire, it's totally fine. But if you have the desire to receive like words, phrases, visions, and you start asking your inner guidance these questions, that is something that really powerfully opens the door. And you get to, receive words and written guidance from your inner being, from source. And one note I just want to make here, I'm sure we'll talk about it more, but one of the biggest questions is like, how do I know it's real? How do I know it's my inner guidance? And all I'll say is, wherever you are on your journey, and if you're opening to that next level of depth or clarity or consistency with your inner guidance, if you can set aside that question and just remember, it is going to feel peaceful, grounded, and consistent. Okay? There's no urgency, there's no fear, there's no lack, there's no pressure. So the energy you receive from your inner guidance is different. It's different than the guidance you'll receive from your analytical thinking mind. And that's up to you to get still enough and quiet enough to pay attention to. And so that's part of the practice, is you do have to focus and pay attention and be present with the energy you're receiving. And the more you do, the more you will feel the difference in the energy you're receiving from your inner guidance and the energy you're receiving from your, figuring out analytical mind. So developing this relationship is simply a matter of giving it energy and giving it attention. And so that might be a dedicated practice if you want to sit down and create space and get a journal and ask your inner guidance questions, or tune in. Or it might be as simple as bringing it into your everyday life and just paying more attention to those things we were talking about, like little whispers or nudges or sensations. And this is really where it becomes a relationship. Like it's not just I'm going to receive. I mean, it kind of feels like what's happened, because it is this constant energy of love. They just, well, from what I've experienced, it's an overflow of love and support and kindness from this divine energy that is within you, which is your true self. But when it really becomes a relationship is when you open yourself to receive it, and the giving, the energy you're giving this part of yourself is what really makes it so powerful, because then it's not it's not separate, right? You're honoring that relationship, and it's the most beautiful thing because it's actually just you, the core of you. So all of this practice is about connecting with your true self and with the energy that is you. And so thinking about it as a relationship just allows it to expand so much more. Okay, right? This relationship, it will expand the more love, care, desire, and practice you bring to it. And again, as a reminder, you don't need a special gift. The only thing you need to be able to access this is the wanting to connect. That is the only thing. If you want to connect with yourself in this way, with your inner guidance, it is available for you. Okay. So I wanted to share I went back, I had to pull out my external hard drive, go back to when I first opened and the first kind of words that I received from my inner guidance and just writing. And it kind of just popped in, but I knew it right away because I had been listening to, Abraham for so long. And the question I asked, and there's so many versions of this question, but this one is the one that worked for me. I just wrote down, I opened my computer, like I said, and I said, what is underneath that wishes to be known? And this is what I typed. It is okay. You are on the right path. Breathe, relax. You're doing very well. You have a great deal of potential and you will reach it. You will inspire. You will find the love of your life, the soul connection. You will grow to a place of great enlightenment, and it will not be hard. You will experience great and true love in more than one way. It's all coming. Just be in the moments. Learn to enjoy the being space. We will provide to you things in the physical world that are greater than what you have dreamed of so far. Release and let go. It's all coming. You are safe. You can trust. Breathe, release, be. It's all God and it's all good. You will feel a stronger and stronger connection. You have the power. It's coming through you. You are brilliant. Open. Let go. Trust. Accept what is as perfect. There's no struggle. There's only resistance. Your understanding is growing in this moment. You are coming out to the leading edge of thought. You are catching up with yourself. This feels good. Here you come. Here we are. Isn't this fun? And then I must have wrote, thank you for coming through me. I love you. I love me. And they said, yes, we all love you. We are all one. It is all so good. Amazing things are coming your way. Just relax and enjoy the journey. You have some very exciting things about to enter your experience very soon. You'll be pleased with them. You've done the work. You're releasing more and more resistance. This is very good. You are finding your way. You will be an example and an inspiration to many. There is great love here for you. Thank you. And so this was all very similar to what I have had heard through different Abraham teachings. And so I know that something was coming through, but this voice, and it's a little more fragmented, but you can catch the essence, right? And this was personal to me, which I was trying. And they're like, let go, stop, which I find is most of the guidance that comes through for me is to relax, let go, stop controlling. And so this having connection to this other guidance inside of me that is constantly reminding me of the way I want to live, the way I believe is the most wonderful way to live and most fulfilling way to live, which is allowing and in alignment. And that is the power of this. And that is what the voice, there's a million different words. It says the same thing in a million different ways, but it's over the years, exactly what I need to hear at exactly the right time. And its message or how it comes through has continued to evolve. And I'm kind of guessing it's only because I'm evolving, so I'm able to receive the message in a different way, right? But so much of what has turned into this practice for me, so the most consistent practice I use in my everyday life now is this connecting with my inner being and my writing. And I will ask questions, and most of the time I'll just sit and say, what do you want to share, and things will come through. And sometimes it's for me, and sometimes it feels like it's for everybody, and sometimes it's about this, and sometimes I have questions. But the most powerful part of this for me has been in the act of sitting and writing. It's like I'm fine-tuning my vibration, and it's like keeping me connected to the energy of who I really am, to my truth. And so then when I go out into the world, it's a lot easier to access that because I'm grounded, I'm anchored in this energy that I want to be anchored in, and my soul truth and how I want to approach the world. So you get to become this channel for this intelligence that is uniquely yours and in a way that is completely unique to you. It gets to be all yours. And if you want to practice, and if this is something that's calling you, I created a little guided meditation practice. You can download it for free and begin to open up this space in your life, but also in your being, to start to ask questions. So I can include that in the show notes, and wherever you are, allow it to take you to that next level of knowing for you, that next level of connection with the energy and the wisdom and the guidance that is living inside of you and ready to support you in ways that your mind can't. And that's the thing, is the way we've learned to access guidance and navigate the world through our mind and through our logical is wonderful and amazing, but it will only take us so far because we are so much more than what's going on in that analytical, logical piece of us. So what is the point kind of nurturing, as we kind of wrap this up? What is it, the reason for us nurturing this relationship? And ultimately, if you're a person that wants true freedom, right, to be all you are here to be, that means being you. Being the real, true, full, authentic, gorgeous, messy you. Okay, your ultimate freedom comes from living in alignment with your truth. And the only way to live your truth is to know your truth. So we have to sift and sort and strip away all the things that you're not, so you can clearly see this magnificent human being that you are. And learning to connect with your inner guidance and hear it and live through this lens is you getting to know yourself beyond what you've learned, beyond what you think about yourself, beyond what the world has taught you is possible. And in reality, it's developing this relationship with you. It's getting to know who you really are so that you can choose and create a life beyond your wildest dreams. So I don't know if it's really like a tool or if our minds have kind of made the most natural thing in the world into a thing to do, but it has completely changed my life. And if you're called to know yourself more, this can be a grounding source of unconditional love for you to tap into at any time, anywhere. So it's something I've been practicing, like I said, for over 13 years, and it's developed. And so I thought it would be kind of fun. I shared with you at the beginning the first one I did, and to see, maybe I feel like it's evolved. I feel like the messaging and how they're saying has evolved, but I wonder if you will feel a difference too. So I'm going to share a more recent message from my inner being, just as for fun and as a comparison. So this was a month-ish ago. There's a beautiful experience available to you here on earth. Do not rush the journey of getting there. Here we go again, right? They're back saying, don't rush, let go. This is kind of funny. Do not rush the journey of getting there. Do not rush the joy of becoming. All of who you already are in full expression. The abundance here is already overflowing if you choose to see it, and it only expands with your realization of it. Your gifts here, in exactly the way you are expressing, are many, as you choose to see them. There is quite literally nothing wrong with who you are, now and forever. You can't get it wrong in this entire lifetime, because nothing that happens here touches the absolute perfection of who you have always been and will always be. This life is for you to explore and experience and choose. We say it for the fun of it, and we know it doesn't always feel like that to you, but imagine, from our perspective, seeing a child learn about themselves in a brand new way, in a new world, a new reality. We witness your becoming as pure joy. And you simply can never be wrong in our eyes. You are the essence of childlike wonder, learning about who you are, learning about being in a new world, in a new way. Whatever path you choose, they all lead to the same place, the opportunity to realize your truth and return to love. So this is some of the energy that I get to tune into, and this type of guidance and groundedness is available to you as well. If it's feeling fun to you, you can open up the space and ask these questions and receive this guidance as well. So thank you so much for co-creating in this space today. If you have any questions or you want to hear about anything, send me an email, inspire@ginnygane.com. I've enjoyed so much sharing this space with you and co-creating. And until next time, you are powerful beyond measure and you have always got this. I'll see you in the next one.